Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I am your yarn host Jennifer. Today I am teaching you how to make the sleeping dinosaur slash sleeping dragon, whatever you want her to be. This little cute thing. I'm teaching you how to make this. I am not using a chenille style yarn for the tutorial for a couple of reasons. Because chenille is hard to see the stitches and I want this to be beginner friendly. I want everyone and anybody to be able to make this. So I am still using a bulky weight yarn. I am using the Bloom from Premier Yarns. It's the Bloom Chunky. Not to be confused with the Bloom Regular, because the Bloom Regular is a 3-weight and it will be really small. Okay, this is a 5-weight yarn. It's bulky 5. I'm using a 6mm crochet hook. Do you have to do it in bulky weight? No. You can do it in worsted weight and use a 4mm crochet hook. You can do it in a DK weight yarn. It will be really small and use like a 3mm crochet hook. I get this question so frequently in my tutorials. What size hook? Because I don't always tell you. Because a lot of my tutorials, I say you can make it in any yarn. And I stand by that. If you're going to make an amigurumi, look on the label for what it suggests for the swatch and go down. Get a smaller hook. This recommends an 8mm. I'm using 6mm. The way that I test if it's going to be a good size is I go like that and see if it fits in the throat here of your hook. Does it fit in the throat there? And it doesn't fully fit, but I know for a fact it works because I've been crocheting all night. I've been making really cute stuff with a 6mm crochet hook and bulky yarn, okay? Just trust me on this. Go down a hook size. For a 4-weight yarn, I would use a 4mm crochet hook or even a 3.5mm crochet hook. You want your stitches to be close together so there's not holes. And because this is not a chenille yarn, it's not going to fill in the spaces. I may have to switch to a 5.5mm hook when I get crocheting because I've never made this dinosaur with regular old acrylic yarn. And you can do these things. I'm also going to tell you there are pieces that you have to sew on. So if you don't like sewing pieces on, you're not going to like this. The tail is separate, the arms are separate, the head is separate, the ears are separate, and this is surface crochet. If you're not comfortable in those things, you still watch the tutorial and give it a try. And if you have never ever made an amigurumi before and this is going to be your first, don't do it. Go over and watch Sarah the Snake tutorial here on the channel and start there. It teaches you how to work in the round so that you can get practicing. It shows you what it's like working with a chenille yarn. I put tricks in there on how to get a really tight magic knot using an acrylic yarn with your polyester yarn. So that, because sometimes it don't work with that kind of yarn, okay? There's tricks in that tutorial. Now that being said, I will be drinking Dr. Pepper through this whole tutorial. I feel like my allergies are acting up real bad. So I will be drinking. You're probably going to hear me drinking. And it's going to be fine. You're going to ignore it, okay? What you need to make the dragon. You need a body color, whatever yarn you decide to use. If you use, this is a 5-weight yarn, this is the size he should be with the 5-weight yarn. I'm using the Bloom again, okay? If you make him with a skinnier yarn, his body's going to be smaller. You need a tail ridge colorway that kind of goes with your yarn, or maybe is like a totally different color altogether. You need a yarn for that. You need crochet hook. You need some sort of eyes for the baby, okay? We're going to embroider eyes on this tutorial, but if you want him not to be a sleeping dragon and you want to put safety eyes on it, you are free to do that. There are no rules in my crochet world, okay? So, and you need something to stuff him with. The inside of a pillow would work. Scrap yarn works. I'm using polyfill because I have a bunch of it, okay? Let's go down to the table and let's start this tutorial. Alright, got my 6mm crochet hook. This is a Dots Hook crochet hook from We Crochet. They are my favorite hooks to do amigurumi with. And I'm trying to center pull, but I feel like it's going to be a disaster because I can feel a big giant ball of yarn in the center there. Now this yarn is actually patterned yarn. So we may see little flowers and stuff pop up on our amigurumi, and that's going to be super cute, and it's going to be self-striping. You can use just a solid color if you so choose. Like I said, if you're familiar with and you are used to using parfait or other styles of chenille yarn, this is from Premier Yarns, you can do that. I don't recommend, if you are not used to using, if you're not used to doing amigurumis with a parfait yarn, I don't recommend starting here. Start with acrylic. Start with a bulky acrylic that you have in stash. Alright, now, let me grab my notes. We're going to start legs up. So we're going to make one leg, and we're going to stop about here. And then we're going to make the second leg, and then we're going to attach them by crocheting in the round. So you need to make 2 of these legs, and I'm only going to show you me making one of them. So we're going to make the first one together. I'm going to pause, and then we'll make the second one. Alright, so you need to make a magic circle, and don't be scared because people get so freaked out about a magic circle. A magic circle is a slip knot. That's all it is. It's a slip knot that you don't close all the way, okay? So to make the magic circle, I do it the same way I make a slip knot. I make what looks like an awareness ribbon. The small tail's on the back. Pinch the X. Go from top to bottom, grab the long tail. Okay? Pull up a loop. Now that's just a slip knot. If you pull this, it's just a slip knot. It's that simple. If you make a slip knot, you can make this. Just don't pull that part tight. And then chain 1. That's a magic circle. Okay? You want this tail to be long enough that you can crochet over the top of these 2 without losing this in the stitches. Okay? We're going to put 6 single crochet in the magic loop over both of those. And I know this feels weird if you're not used to doing a magic loop. That's 2. That's 3. 4. 5. See, my tail's getting a little short there, so I'm going to give it a little pull. Put the 6th one in there with my hair, because I just sewed some hair in there. Pull it real tight. Close that hole up as tight as you can, okay? Now we're going to come over here in the first stitch. We're going to wrap that loose tail, because we're going to crochet over the top of it. We're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch. So that first stitch gets 2 single crochets. Next stitch gets 2 single crochets over the tail. And then this row you should have 12 stitches, because 6 times 2 is 12. Single crochet 2 in each one. And since I'm not counting, I'm going to get a stitch marker. I need to find a stitch marker, because I like to mark the beginning of the row. Another thing you need is a stitch marker that you like. Okay. I have a jar of stitch markers my daughter has made somewhere around this house. No idea where I put it. Not a clue. Stitch marker. Alright. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stitches. So this is our first stitch of the row. We are going to mark off our stitches or our rows as we go. At least I am. Rows 3 to 6. So rows 3, 4, 5, and 6 is just going to be single crocheted in the round. So we just put a single crochet in each stitch. Marking that first one. And if you want to just do math, okay, just take 3 times 12 and then crochet until you have that number of stitches. Or you can just crochet in the round. Every time you hit that stitch marker, move it up a row. So we know this is row 3. And we're just single crocheting in every stitch. This is going to be his little foot. And see how it's starting to curve up on us? You just want to flip that around that way, because this is the right side. Okay, whatever way is facing you while you're crocheting. See, if you're going this way, this is the outside. You want to flip it like that. Alright, I'm going to move my stitch marker, and this will be row 4. Putting it in the wrong hole. That's what she said. Alright, this is row 4. It's a crappy stitch marker, didn't want to close. Again, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch. It's kind of hot in here. Whew. The AC is back running in case you have followed that story at all. But I've had fans in the house trying to keep it cool because it's been in the hundreds with the heat index. And it's getting warm in here. This is row 5. Once again, just put some single crochets, mark my first stitch. This is coming out, well, maybe. He looks like he's going to be a little bit bigger than this guy. Maybe not. It looks big because I've been crocheting on little tiny stuff. I am seeing some gaps in the stitches, but that's okay. You're not actually supposed to see the gaps, but alright, that was what? Row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so we're starting row 6. This will just be single crochets in the round. And then the next row we're going to do his ankles. So we're going to do some decreases. Alright, now this is row 7. We're going to decrease all the way around. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 single crochet together. So we're going to go in the next loop, pull up a loop, and the next loop, pull up a loop, pull through all 3 of those, put our stitch marker back, and do that again in the next stitch, pull up a loop, go in the next stitch after that, pull up a loop, that's 2 together, do it again, next stitch, pull up a loop, next stitch, pull up a loop, 2 together. And this should take us from 12 stitches down to 6 because this is where his little ankle is. We're going to give him some cute little ankles. And of course, if you know how to do the invisible decrease for amigurumis, you can do that one, but I don't think that it makes a big difference with this tutorial. Pull out some extra yarn so I'm not fighting it. Alright, so see, that is his foot. It cuts in his ankle. And then we are going to do a row of single crochet for his ankle. You have these cute little pink ankles or peach ankles. Now if you want, if it's easier for you, you can stop right here and then rewind it back and just make this foot again while it's still fresh to you. Okay? Because what we're doing next is a lot of numbers, but it's not actually that difficult. Okay, and since we need 2 feet, okay, you want them to be the same size. If you want to stop and rewind and make the second foot right now, you can. All we're going to do is do a couple of, that's his tail. We're going to do a couple increases to make his leg look more like a chicken leg, okay? Well, a reverse chicken leg. That would be a really cute drumstick right there, right? So we're going to thicken his thighs out, and then we're going to stop at this seam, and then we're going to work this one, and then we're going to connect them. All you need to worry about right now is if you want to make that foot right now, go ahead and rewind. Make the second foot, okay? You can pause it, rewind. All right, now let's move it on to the leg joint. we are going to, in that first stitch, we're going to put an increase, which is 2 single crochet in the same stitch. Don't forget to put your stitch marker back every time. Just helps you to keep track of where we're at in the row, okay? And then single crochet twice. So single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet in the next stitch, and then increase 2 single crochets in the same stitch, and then single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. Okay, 1 and 2. See, it was really that simple. Now, the stitch marker, and this is going to be very typical. The next several rows is very typical of what all amigurumi tend to have. So we did an increase, single crochet, single crochet. The next row is going to be increase, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, the entire round. I'm going to show you my little notes here. I'm going to ignore this top part, okay? So we have, this is technically row 9 because I added an extra row and didn't change the number. So we had increase, single crochet, single crochet, increase, single crochet, all the way around, okay? Then for the next row, we're going to do increase, and then we're going to single crochet for the next 3 stitches. So single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, increase. All right. Next row after that, single crochet, increase, and then single crochet 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase. And you repeat that around. So after the increase, there's 4 more single crochets. Okay. And the next row is times 5, and the next row is times 6. Don't worry, we're gonna do this together. All right. I don't remember if that was the first stitch or not, or if I just removed one. All right, we're just gonna move on. All right, so single crochet, no, increase in the first stitch. Put your stitch marker back. So the first single crochet, we're gonna put a second one in that same stitch, okay? And then the next 3 stitches just get a regular old single crochet. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do an increase, which is 2 single crochet, 1 and 2. And then in the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. All those stitches just get a regular old single crochet. And we're back to the beginning. And now we know, because we did 3 on that row, this row is going to get 4. So we're going to start with an increase, single crochet again in the same stitch, and then 4 single crochets. So 1 in each of the next 4 stitches, 2, 3, and 4. Then an increase, which is 2 single crochet in the same stitch. Pull yarn out of the center of my ball. And then single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Crochet over that little messy part. Back to the beginning of the row. And because we know we did 4 in the last row, this row is going to have 5. So we do an increase in the first stitch. And then a single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Increase, single crochet the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how his leg is starting to grow out? Alright, now, next row, we need 6 stitches. So we're going to put our increase in the first stitch. Single crochet in the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. increase, and then single crochet over the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright. Ooh, I didn't mean to bang the camera, my bad. It's actually smaller. I thought it was going to be bigger. Look at that. We got a leg. Alright. Now, checking the size. His leg seems kind of small. Well, you know what? We're going to add 1 row of single crochet. Alright. My row counts are going to be off. I'm going to have to rewrite this, but it'll be fine. Alright, so just this next row, single crochet all the way around. Just single crochet in every stitch. I just want a little bit of length on his leg. Oh, we started with the blue. Alright, so there was 16 stitches in that row. Alright. Now what we're going to do, we're going to find our scissors, which I think are actually in, no, I have some. I was going to say, I think they're in the other room with my amigurumi stuff. And cut this. You don't need a long tail, because we're not sewing anything here, okay? So just cut it and pull it through to seal it off, because what we're going to do is when we connect the 2 legs is we're just going to crochet all the way around, okay? So you ain't even got to worry about that. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull this through so it's on the inside so I'm not fighting it later. Alright, now make up your second leg if you haven't already done that. And then come back here and I will show you what to do. Alright, we have our 2 legs. Now what you want to do is put them side by side and make sure that they are about the same size. This one looks like a half a stitch shorter, but it could just be because I crocheted tighter this round because I wasn't on camera, which is okay. Alright, it's my first stitch of the row. Now what we're going to do is we're going to join these together so that there's no openings. Okay? I think it's funny the way it started blue here, so it went blue here and then went right back to peach, so like the thighs are kind of the same color. Purely coincidental, I assure you. Alright, so what I'm going to do is this is that's the last stitch of the row. We're going to go into the first stitch of the row. Okay. I'm going to pull up a loop and then we're going to go to where we slip stitched. It doesn't matter where. Just put it in there somewhere and pull up another loop. Okay. And then we are going to go through all of those loops together, and that's just how we attached in the center area right there, okay? Now we're going to continue around, and I'm going to crochet over my little tail from the last side. And we're going to crochet in every stitch of this leg. Just crochet around in every stitch of this leg. Just single crochet. Ooh, that's snagging on something in there. Yeah, I'm grabbing. There we go. Got it. See, it's kind of splitting there. This big ball of the bloom yarn, I believe I got this at Walmart. I don't know if Walmart still sells it. But also you can buy it on Premier Yarns using my affiliate link if you so choose. But you can buy this yarn readily at, or well, at least you could. I don't know what Walmart has anymore. I'm going to be real honest with you. I hate Walmart. Alright, so we got back to that weird funky stitch. So we're going to go into that last stitch. We're going to pull up a loop. We're going to go into the next stitch on the next leg. Pull up a loop. We're going to, see, now look at that. There's no crotch holes. Okay, and then we're just going to continue crocheting in the round. And actually, if you want, you can mark that crotch stitch as our first stitch of the row. It's not going to really matter, but if you wanted to keep track, you can keep track there. Mark your little crotch stitch or your butt crack. That could be a butt crack stitch, depending on what side you want it to be, your front and your back. Because at this point, it could go either way. This could be the front. This could be the front. It's all good. It's all good in the neighborhood, homies. Crocheting, we're single crocheting in the round, in the round, in the round. Now, what we're going to do is for the next, let's see, 13, for the next 7 rows, so that was row number 1. For the next 6 rows, we're going to just single crochet in the round, in the round, in the round, in the round. So this is the beginning of the row. That was row 1. Okay. Connect the stitch marker and continue going around and around and around in the rows. We're just single crocheting for 6 more rows. Wonder when we're going to get to the flower part. Somewhere in the yellow, it looks like. So, you guys don't need to see me single crocheting in the round for 6 rows. And if you ever get lost, just look where that first stitch of the crotch was. Okay, it's row 1. This is row 2. You need to go for a total of 7 rows from the crotch. So the crotch is row 1, row 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. If you have a really hard time keeping track of your rows, I'm going to be honest, if you have 7 stitch markers, you can just, every time you come back around to the crotch, so since this is our crotch row, if you have a real hard time, that's crotch row, that's row number 1, that's row number 2, next row, add another stitch, or another stitch marker, next row, add another stitch marker, add another stitch marker, till you have 7 of these, if you need to do that. I don't. Because I can very clearly tell that when there's a line, that's a row. There's a line, there's a line, there's a line, okay? But if you struggle with that because you're new, or maybe you have vision problems, you can add a stitch marker every time you get around to that crotch row. And that'll help you to keep track on how many rows you have. I know a lot of artists, crochet artists that are actually on the internet, that will put a stitch marker for every single row just to help them. And there's no shame in that whatsoever. Alright, so single crochet. I'll meet you at the end of the 7th row in the round from the crotch. And I'll show you what to do next. Alright, this is what we have so far. Now at this point, you're going to want to put some stuffing into the feet before it gets too tall. I gotta open my stuffing bag. It was a stuffing box, but then I cleaned up and I got rid of the box. So pardon the loud crinkle. Alright, grab some stuffing. This yarn is feeling on the stiff side for a, these are supposed to be loveys for like a baby or a kid to cuddle with, squish on. I don't like them feeling real stiff, so I'm gonna understuff them a lot. And I think it's just because of the type of yarn that I'm using, because the chenille ones are much softer. Now to get, because this is real thin, my finger don't fit in there, to get the stuffing down in there, I just use the back of my crochet hook. And I stuff some down in there. And if you have a boning tool would work. A marker might actually work better because it's flatter. There we go. Got some in there. You don't want that ankle to be pushed out, so make sure you get some in the foot. Make sure the ankle is not all jam-packed with yarn or fluff. There we go. That's the foot done. Go to the other side. Stuff that foot. The legs are not what's important right now. It's kind of important to get that foot stuffed. There we go. We have 2 feet. We have 2 feet. Alright. There we go. Those little feet are stuffed. Quick, quick. Alright. I got my 7 rows because we know that the peach row was the first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We reached the beautiful floret pattern. Floret, flower, the flowery part of the patterning of the yarn. We are at, well, it says 21 rows, but since I added 2 extra rows, we're probably at like 23. We're not keeping track of the rows, it's fine. Alright, we're back at our stitch marker, which the stitch marker is gradually moving to the side, and that is okay. Alright, now what we're going to do here is we're going to take it and we're going to lay it flat. So these are his pants. Pants on the ground. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to crochet until we get to 2 stitches on either side of the hips. And in those 2 stitches, we're going to put increases. So that will take 2 stitches here and turn it into 4 stitches. And it'll take 2 stitches on this side and turn them into 4 stitches, okay? Don't freak out. This is not super scary, okay? We're just going to put our first stitch of the row. And this is just to make him have a little bit of an extra wide booty, okay? Just to give him some little hip definition. We're going to single crochet across. And see, there's 2 stitches there. It doesn't matter which 2 stitches, okay? We're going to put 2 single crochet in the first stitch on his hip. That's an increase. And then 2 single crochet in the next stitch on his hip. That's an increase. And then we're going to turn it. We're going to single crochet his back side or his front side. I think this is going to be his back side because that weird blue line right there is driving me crazy. So I think that's going to be the front. I don't really like the way that looks right there. It's bothering me. And it shouldn't, because it's like a little birthmark. My daughter has a big giant birthmark on her leg, and I think it's beautiful. And I still just feel like that should be on the back for some reason. So we're single crocheting across to his back side till we get to the other hip. Alright. So see, there's a stitch on this side, a stitch on that side. Those are the 2 stitches we're going to increase. So we're going to put 2 single crochet in this stitch, 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and then we're just going to single crochet back across to the stitch marker, which marks the first of the row. It's the first of the row. Watch out, watch out, watch out. It's the first of the row. In between filming, I've been opening my office door, turning the fan on because I'm a little bit hot. All right, we did that. We did that. All right. For the next 2 rows, we're just going to single crochet. Just single crochet all the way around for 2 rows. Single crochet. But you know what I'm going to do? Because that little piece that was messed up when we did the one leg is bothering me, so I'm just going to clip that. Alright, single crochet for the next 2 rows, just single crochet in the round to reach that stitch marker 2 times. And you don't really need to see me do that because this video will be 8 hours long. So single crochet in the round for 2 rows. Alright, now here comes the part. Now we got our 2 rows of single crochet, okay? So, you can see it went out a little bit for his booty. It's going to be his rear end, right? See? You see what it looks like. Dragon, that's a dragon butt, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to start decreasing, but we're only decreasing every other row. And just like we did the increases here, we're going to do the backwards here. So let me show you. Let me find this scrap piece of paper. All right. So again, ignore the numbers right here. We're going to start, we did these 2 rows in single crochet, and then we're going to do single crochet 5 times and then a decrease. The next row is going to be just straight single crochet. The row after that is going to be single crochet 4 times. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to have a decrease. So we're going to do 2 single crochets together, and we're going to repeat that around. 4, decrease, 4, decrease. Then we'll do a row of single crochet. Then the next row will be 3, and then a decrease, and then single crochets, and then 2, and then a decrease. Okay, but don't worry. It's like this part, just backwards. And in between the decrease rows, we are going to have just a straight single crochet row, and what that does is it elongates. So instead of it curving this way for so many decreases, it elongates the decrease. Okay, it's going to create his chest body. All right, now this is, we did that one. All right, so we're going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches. Well, that's the first stitch. Don't forget to mark it. And then 2, 3, 4, and 5 single crochets. And then we're going to do a decrease. So you go in the next stitch, pull up a loop, and in the stitch after that, pull up a loop, pull through all 3, and then go back to the 5. So 5 single crochets, 1 in each of the next 5 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5. Decrease. Go on the next loop, next stitch, pull up a loop, go into the stitch after that, pull up a stitch or a loop, go through all 3, and then 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Decrease. Next loop, pull up a loop. Next one, pull up a loop. That's your decrease. 5 stitches. But put your leg down, ma'am. Look at her. Girlfriend, put that thing down. Put it down. She's getting excited. 2, 3. It's steadily raising up. 4, 5. Decrease. See, when I stop crocheting, but the second I start to crochet, her leg goes right up in there. Her leg pops. Alright. Single crochet the next 5 stitches. So it's 5 single crochet, decrease, 5 single crochet, decrease, all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Decrease. I apparently have an extra stitch, but I'm just going to put a stitch there. It's going to be fine. If you have an extra stitch there, you have not enough stitches there, it ain't going to matter. Nobody's going to count your stitches. It's a dragon. It's a dinosaur. Alright, next row. Single crochet in the round. Put a single crochet in every stitch. Single crochet in every stitch around. That's how we do it now. Boop. I like the way this yarn is patterning up. I think this is going to be a cute little dragon. Alright, single crochet. I'll meet you at the end of the row. Alright, made it back to that first stitch. And I need to flip my page. Because we're now on this stitch. Alright, so we're going to single crochet in the very first stitch of the row. Place our stitch marker. And we need 4 single crochet, so that's the first one was where we put the stitch marker. Then we put 2, 3, and 4. And then a decrease. don't worry, I'm going to put notes somewhere that you guys can either download so you can follow along with me and check off the rows as we go, and it will actually have the right numbers, unlike the notes that I am writing in my notebook. So 3, nope, not 3, 4 single crochet, decrease, ooh, we're back to the blue, 4 single crochet, decrease, 4 single crochet. If you can't crochet as fast as me, don't worry about it. I'm crocheting fast because I'm filming a tutorial and I'm trying to get it done so that I can show you all of the parts in a reasonable amount of time. And if you need to slow me down, there's a little gear icon up here on your screen. I think it's up here. It looks like a cog. And you just click that and you can slow me down, but I will talk very strangely like this. And it kind of gives me a heebie-jeebies when I have to do that, but I have had to do that with some videos before. And I still have that extra stitch, which is fine, because that happens to me quite frequently. Alright, this next row. Single crochet in the round. Make sure you mark your stitch every time so you know that's the first stitch of the row. And see how I'm not closing that? Because that's just a pain. Just clip it in there. Single crochet in each one of these stitches. And then since I already kind of walked you through what you have to do for the next row, after you do this row of single crochets in every stitch, the next one will be 3 single crochets and then a decrease. I love this colorway of this yarn. It's so pretty. I was in here looking. I was like, which one of these yarns can I use that people will be able to see the stitches easier on? Because chenille, it just ain't happening. It's different with like Sarah the Snake tutorial because you can kind of feel and guess where the stitches need to go, and that's just, there's no increases or decreases. But this is not a beginner pattern, this is an intermediate pattern because there's so much to it. It's not that it's difficult, it's that there's a lot of different steps, so every couple of rows is different, and you have to sew some pieces on. But I believe in you that you can do this. Even if you are a beginner, just practice first. And don't expect the first one to be perfect, because I promise you my first one was not perfect. My second one was not perfect. None of the ones I've made is perfect. I keep making adjustments every time I go just to, you know. Alright, so next row, marking my first stitch. And then we put, so this is 3 single crochet. So the first stitch is 1, 2, 3 single crochet, decrease, 3 single crochet, decrease, 3 single crochet, decrease, 3 single crochet, decrease, drink break, num nums, 3 single crochet, decrease, and I still have that extra stitch there. Alright, where are we at? Alright, next row. You guessed it. Single crochet in the round. First stitch, stitch marker. I'm not giving you guys stitch counts with this because, as you can see, I'm a stitch off. And it's not going to matter if you're 1 or 2 stitches off. Not the way we're doing it. Now some other tutorialists, some other pattern writers are very specific and they have to give you exact numbers, and I understand if you're that analytical of a mind and you need all of that information. Cinnamon Stitches is not the person you need to be following. I want it to be fun, and I want to know if I want to go back and replicate this. I can replicate it from memory if I've made enough of them, which I kind of have. I don't actually, and I change things so frequently. I want you guys to be able to do this without a hard and fast set of rules, you know. Alright. Woof. Anybody else's hands hurting? My hands are hurting. Alright. So there we go. We have legs. These are the hips. This is going into the waist and chest area. I only really have stuffing down here in this bottom section right now. Alright. Next row, we are going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. That's the first stitch of the row. You see how it started, this was the center of the stitches, and then gradually it like merged over. That's just the way things work when you're working in the round. That stitch, if you follow it, like the line goes up this way, right? So that was 1 crochet, 2 single crochets, decrease. One single crochet, 2 single crochets, decrease. And this is going to be his neck hole. Okay. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, decrease. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, decrease. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, decrease. I have an extra stitch. If you don't, that's fine. Alright, check. Now, I'm going to see how many stitches I have, because I have 1 too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I have several too many stitches. So, we're going to go around, and we're going to single crochet once and decrease, which is I'm adding an extra row. Alright. Single crochet, loop, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, and I still have an extra stitch. That's fine. Alright, that's much more reasonable. I can fit 2 fingers in there. Of course, if you're using a smaller hole or a smaller yarn, you might be able to fit 1 finger in there because it will be smaller. And then we can go ahead and leave a long tail for sewing. Oh, they're there. I'm going to say like 2 feet. We just want to make sure we have extra. Cut that off. We can also remove the stitch marker because we're done with the body. I'm going to pull that through. That's how we're going to attach the head to the body, okay? And then you take and just put some stuff in there. Just shove a little bit at a time. Use a marker or a popsicle stick or a chopstick or your crochet hook if you need to get it down further into the legs, but all I'm doing is just shoving and shoving and shoving. Okay. And it's better to understuff this than to overstuff this because it's a lovey. We don't want it to be a hard dragon. We want it to be soft and squishy. I'm just going to push a little bit down into his legs. I feel like there's too much in there. He's got a little tummy on him. All right. Just kind of move the stuffing around until you feel like it's where you want it, it's how you want it. You want stiffer legs, put more in the legs, less in the body. There we go. See, he's very, very understuffed because it's going to be a lovey. I don't want him tight and compact. You can always add, I think I'm going to add a little more because he's empty the entire top half of his cavity. And you don't want it empty because you want a little bit of fluff there so that it holds the head up. But I don't want this real hard. There we go. Don't be afraid to smack it around, like squish it. And where did I do my marker? I feel like his legs are deflating. I'll put some extra stuffing in his legs. The stuffing don't want to seem to stay in his legs. So he keeps pushing back out. I don't generally have a problem with that with the chenille yarns because it kind of sticks together. Just jamming it in there. Just jamming it in there. Alright. Yeah, see it pushed back out. His legs are like, no, I don't want to be this fat. Oh man, you don't have a choice. There we go. Yeah, she's being difficult. It's pushing right back up out of her legs with the slightest movement. I think it's just the nature of this yarn specifically. This yarn is real stiff, which is why I prefer making this with chenille, but I mean, it's working. It's working. That looks weird right there. Don't it look weird right there? Alright, so there we have our dinosaur dragon body. Now we can work on, you can make the arms next. I think we're going to make the arms next. So the arms are going to attach right here. And then the head is going to attach right here on the body. Yeah, she's real stiff. It's fine though. It's a lovey. It's not meant to be, you know. The nature of this yarn is it just kind of like, I don't know. I stuffed it and it just stayed where it was supposed to be at. Ain't she cute? Alright. Focus, Jen. Focus. Now, you're going to make 2 arms just like we made 2 legs, okay? And the arms are pretty much the same as the legs, except they're a little bit skinnier. But it's the same idea, okay? So, what we're going to do, I'm going to rewrite part of this pattern. I'm just writing as we go. So what we're going to do is a magic circle once again. Now if you forgot how to do a magic circle after you just did it twice, I'm going to show you one more time. Pretend like you're making an awareness ribbon with a short tail on the bottom. Put your finger on the X, go from top to bottom, pull up a loop, chain 1. Oops, chain 1. Right? Over both of those loops, put 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what makes this an arm and not a leg is that there's 4 instead of 6. Pull that tail tight and close off that circle as best you can. Now, put 2 stitches in every one of these stitches. So now we started with 4 single crochet, we should end up with 8. So decrease in every, or increase in every stitch. 2 in the first, 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 2 in the next stitch. That should be 4. 2 in the next stitch will be 6. 1, 2. 2 in the next stitch will be 8. 1, 2. Go back to the beginning of the row. Have your stitch marker handy. Okay. Start curling this over your finger, because this is the way we just worked it up. If we continue crocheting, it's going to curl towards us and it will be harder to turn inside out because there's only 4 stitches here. So start pushing it around your finger like a thimble right now. So it will make your job a little easier, okay? And then what we're going to do is for rows 3, 4, and 5, so next 3 rows, we're just going to put a single crochet in each stitch, okay? Because there's 8 stitches in every row. Just do 8 single crochet and then 8 single crochet and then 8 single crochet. 3 rows. We need 3 rows. And because we need 2 of these, when you get done with the hand and you get to the wrist part, you can go ahead and start the second hand. Alright, that was row 1. Well, actually it was row 3, but row 4. Single crochet all the way around. Row 4. It's getting hot in here. This is row 5. Once again, single crochet in every stitch for row 5. And then for row 6, we're going to make the wrist, okay? And I need to shake my wrists out because I'm crocheting real tight. It's kind of hurting. Alright. So we're making the wrist, so we're going to decrease all the way around. So 2 single crochets together for all the stitches. You should have 4 stitches at the end of this row. That was my second one. This is my third one. And this is my 4th decrease. Right now, I'm going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches, which are the only stitches we have. We have 4. We're going to do a single crochet in each of those 4 stitches. And I know this part is tedious and hard to get into these little tiny stitches. And that's why I rewrote it, because I was going to actually make it as the same size as the foot, and then I came back and rewrote it 2 seconds ago. You saw me writing. Alright. See, this is really hard to get in here. 4. Okay. Now we're going to increase. So every one of those 4 stitches is going to get 2 single crochets. So the first stitch gets 1, put our stitch marker back, and 2 in that same stitch. Next stitch gets 2 single crochets, so 3 and 4. Next stitch 5 and 6. And the next stitch 7 and 8. Now, you should have 8 stitches for rows 9 to 15. You should just single crochet in the round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a single crochet here. I know that is the start of row 9. And I'm going to leave it here because I don't need to keep moving it. And I'm just going to keep crocheting in the round until I reach the 15th row. If you need to move it up every row and count 9, 10, 11, 12 to 15. Right, so my battery cut off before I finished the sentence about moving the stitch marker or whatever, but it's fine. I've completed my 2 arms. I actually color controlled a little bit because I didn't want the flower on just one of the arms. I thought that was weird. So I just cut the flower part out. And you want to make sure your arms, lay them flat on each other. Make sure they're the same size. That's pretty darn the same size, okay? Now, you also want to leave a tail here for sewing on. think I made the last tail too long, but it's fine. And then I'm gonna bind that off. Now we're gonna sew the arms on, and then we'll work on the head. All right, so we need a darning needle. Oh darn. We'll move my wax melt so I can find a darning one of them darn needles. Problem is I have 18,000. Oh, there's some stitch markers. Tins with notions in it. Oh look, there's more stitch markers. No idea. Those are mints. I'm gonna cop one of those. Look, more stitch markers. I found a needle though. It's smaller than I would like, but we'll have to make it work. Alright. Now whether or not you stuff the arms is entirely up to you. I'm not stuffing the hands. I like the hands to be a little bit, this needle's not, well maybe, no, that's not going to work. I'm going to have to get a bigger needle, hang on. Alright, I got my needle. Put my glasses back on so I can see. Like I was saying, I don't stuff the hands. And the reason I don't stuff the hands is because if you so choose when you're done, the hands are flat. If you want to take and connect the hands together with a stitch so that his face rests on his hands, you know it's hard to see from this angle, you can do that. Also, getting in those little tiny 4 stitches is almost impossible, and it's not really going to make a difference. So I'm just going to put the teeniest amount of stuffing in his arms. That's it. Just literally that much. Just in the top part of his arms, just to fill them out a little bit. That's all you needed. Because we don't want them to be hard. Alright. Now we're going to sew the arms on. I don't have any fancy techniques on how I sew stuff on. I just kind of do the best. Oh, come on. You're not, this yarn's too fat. There we go. So when you're laying the body down, this is his neck hole, okay? Just kind of position it along the edge. You want to make sure, because we have to sew the head on, you need these top stitches. So go below the top stitches right here. Alright? And what I like to do is I put my thumb in the head hole and I just kind of hold it there. And the way that I sew in is I try to go, like if this is lined up here, I go down a stitch further and come up into the arm. And I pull it that way. So the stitches are kind of underneath where the arm is going to rest. Is it perfect? No. Is it ever going to be perfect? No. Because it's a handmade item and it's not meant to be perfect. That's just how I sew it on. I'm sure there are expert amigurumi-ists out there that are going to have different techniques that maybe look better, look neater. Crochet one side. Going under the armpit. Alright. I'm going to go to the other side. And I feel like I need a little bit more stuffing there so his arm's not completely flat. I'm just going to put a little tiny bit in there. No, I'm not, because apparently I sewed it closed. It's fine. Like I said, nothing is perfect. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing on this side. Is we're just going to grab some stitches. And just sew it on the best we can. Once again, if you use chenille yarn, the stitches are hid in the fur a lot better, the fuzziness of the yarn. That doesn't actually bother me at all. Rotate to the top, to the shoulder area. make sure no matter what you do, it's just secure. You just want it secure because you don't want, if you make this for a little kid, you don't want them to accidentally like yank off the arm. That'll be devastating to a little kid to make best friends with it and yank it off. So give it a good tug and make sure it's on there. And then I just put it into the neck hole. Rotate around. Grab the next arm. Ooh, come on. That's giving me a difficult time. There we go. Try to once again come beneath this set of stitches, so like the second row here when you attach it. Lay the body flat if you have to. Make sure your arms line up. And if they don't, it's okay too. Alright. Alright, so it goes right at the bottom of the blue line right there. Somebody's doing the dishes, so you're going to hear dish noises. I'm going to raise you guys up because there's like a whole inch between my workspace. Like the camera was literally like right here from where I was working, and that's just really hard to work in between the camera like that. I might have to put another mint in my mouth. I'm having tummy trouble today. The medicine's making me feel really nauseated. So if you hear me taking a deep sigh, it's why. And if you're new to Cinnamon Stitches tutorials, I always talk about personal stuff when I'm doing tutorials, so it's just one of the benefits of being here with Cinnamon Stitches is like we're two friends just making something together. Call this an online crochet circle. I can't get in there. It's tight. It's real tight. Alright. Yep, she's on there. Alright. I'm going to weave this part into the body. Make sure we don't have that neck hole. So these are the two arms. Okay. There's arm one, there's arm two. Okay. I'm going to do a knot like this. So you're going to wrap this side arm twice around. And then do it again. Wrap it twice. And then just tuck that in. Okay. His arms are secured. They ain't going nowhere. I'm going to add a little more stuff around the head. Just a little bit. Because it's on my desk. There we go. Alright, now it is time to work on the head because we have the body, the entire body. Look up there. Alright. Alright guys, we are in the home stretch. We just have the head left to do. I had to take a couple minute break because this tutorial's taking it out of me. So, like all the other pieces that we've made, we're going to start with a magic circle. You've already done this, so I don't have to show you again because now at this point you've done it 4 times in one tutorial. And in the magic circle, you are going to put 6 single crochet. Just like all the other parts. Well, the arms had 4, the legs had 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm so happy that his snout is blue. It's going to be super cute. His whole head might, well, no. The blue section's kind of small. He's going to have a blue snout. Pull your magic circle tight. And then we're going to single crochet. We're going to increase every stitch. So we're going to put 2 single crochets in each of these stitches. Those 1, 2. So we should have 12 at the end of this row. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Stitch marker. So in the first stitch, we're going to put an increase of row 3. Increase. That's 2 single crochets of row 3. And then we're going to put just 1 single crochet. And then we're going to do an increase. 2 single crochets in the next stitch, single crochet in the next, 2 single crochets in the next stitch, single crochet in the next, all the way around. You should have 18 stitches at the end of this row. So it's increase, single crochet all the way around. You know, one of the downsides of constantly having yarn in my hands is I also constantly have fiber in my mouth. Alright. Increase, single crochet. Now, for row 4 of the snout, single crochet in the first stitch. We're just going to single crochet all the way around. Why is my nose looking so gappy? You know why? Because my hands are getting tired and I'm not crocheting as tight. A single crochet. This is round 4 all the way around. That was row 4. Now row 5, we're going to put the nostrils in. Okay. So see how we've already done this part. We're going to put nostrils. These are bobbles. They're just bobbles, but that's his little nostrils. Okay. So we're going to use the stitch marker, which is our first stitch. I'm going to curve this away from us, okay? Because again, the crochet that's facing you should be the outside. So if it's curling this way, you want to curl it down away from you, okay? So our first stitch here is where the stitch marker is. We're going to put a bobble. So we're going to yarn over. We're going to wrap our hook. Wrap yarn around our hook. Go into the first stitch. Pull up a loop. Pull off 2. Yarn around. Wrap your yarn. Go back in the same stitch. Pull up a loop. Pull off 2. Wrap your yarn. Go back in the nostril. Pull up a loop. Pull off 2. You should have 4 stitches left on your hook. Pull through all 4 of those. Okay. Push your nostril out. Go into the next stitch and single crochet. Okay. Don't be afraid to stick your finger in that little nostril. Push it out. You see how we did that? And we're going to mark the top of the bobble because that's the beginning of the row again. I hate cheap stitch markers. It's the second one I broke. Let's try this again. Top of the nostril. Stitch marker. Of course, somebody's at the door. I have no idea why Amazon rang the doorbell. They never ring the doorbell. And no, it wasn't a package for me. Alright, now, let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, we're going to single crochet this. So that's one of the single crochets in the next 3 stitches. So there's one right after the bobbles. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to make another nostril. Just the same way we did that. Wrap our yarn, go into the stitch, pull up a loop, pull off 2, wrap our yarn, go back into the same stitch, pull up a loop, pull off 2, wrap our yarn, go back in, pull up a loop, pull off 2, pull off all 4, and single crochet in the next stitch, and push your nostril out. Like really stick your finger up that nostril. Okay? That's the nose. Now we just continue single crocheting in the next several stitches of this round, and then the next row single crochet in every stitch around. Okay, it's that simple. That's his face. That's his nostril. That's the first stitch of the row. Make sure you pull your nostril to the side and get that very next one that's right next to the nostril, or otherwise your stitch count is going to be off. And then, because this is the next row after the nostrils, I think this is row 6. Just crochet all the way around, single crochet to create that nostril, really poking out. Make sure you get both stitches that are part of the nostril. And then single crochet back up to the stitch marker. Alright, that's the first stitch of the next row. Let me look at my pattern. Alright. Alright, we are going to single crochet twice. So this first stitch I already put in single crochet 1, single crochet 2, and then we're going to increase. We're going to do that all the way around. So single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then an increase, 2 single crochets. Oh, we changed color. Now we have pink. So we got a blue nostril and a pink face area. I just lost count. Hang on. Oh, that's the increase, right? Single crochet in the next 2, increase. Single crochet in the next 2, increase, all the way around. And the last stitch is an increase. Alright. I need to highlight this because I keep mark it. That was, I think, row 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's row 7. All right. For the next 2 rows, rows 8 and 9, we're just going to single crochet in the round. And so no increases, just single crochet for 2 rows. Turn my ringer off and the speaker still decides it's going to play the ringtone. Because I'm connected to a Bluetooth speaker. Alright, I'm going to pause and I'm going to do 2 rows of single crochet. Alright, that's the end of row 9. Starting on row 10, a single crochet. Put our stitch marker, beginning of row 10, single crochet in, so that's the first single crochet, so we're going to single crochet 3 stitches and then increase all the way around, so single crochet in the 3 stitches, increase, single crochet in the next 3 stitches, increase, single crochet in the next 3 stitches, increase, single crochet in the next 3 stitches, increase, all the way around, ending the row in an increase, but much like the body, if you have an extra stitch, you'll be fine. Alright, row 11, single crochet this row, single crochet in every stitch, all the way around. Alright, now at this point, if you want to put in safety eyes, which I'm not going to do because I prefer the embroidery eyes on the sleeping dino, but if you want your dino to be awake, here's where you would put them in. Alright, so you obviously don't want to put them in this last row that we just created. You want to put them like 1 or 2 rows down. I would go 2 rows down. So from the nostril, 1, 2, 2, maybe 3 rows up from the nostril, or 1, 2 rows down from that last row we just made, and kind of line the eyes up with the nostrils. Okay, so just take the center of the nostril, go up 3 rows, and in one of those stitches each side put the eyeballs. Okay, if you're embroidering the eyes, we're going to wait until the head is done to do that, but right now is when you would put the eyeballs in and put them right above where the nostrils are. See, lined up with the nostrils. Boop. Okay, that's where you would put in your safety eyes. If you're making this for a child under the age of 5, I would not use safety eyes, and I'm gonna be real honest, like safety eyes are not real safe for a lot of little kids, even under the age of maybe 7, because my son liked to pull the eyes out. So just know who you're making this for. If you're making this for a little child, I would absolutely embroidery the eyes on. I would not do safety eyes. I don't care how safe you think the safety eyes are. They can come out and become a choking hazard, okay? And the embroidered eyes are just fine. Alright, what row were we on? Does anybody remember? That was row 11, I think. Alright, so for row 12, we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches, but this time we're going to do decreases, not increases, okay? We're done increasing. So 3 single crochets, and then single crochet the next 2 together, all the way around. So 3 single crochets, decrease, 3 single crochets, decrease, we might have, because the yellow's starting to get lighter here, we may have flowers on the back of this dragon's head. That was 3, decrease. Alright, now we're back to the beginning of the row. And we're just going to single crochet in each stitch of this row. We should have 24 stitches. If you're off by 1 or 2, it's not going to make a big difference. Okay, just saying. And single crochet every stitch. I knew it. We got to the flowery part. And I think because this is about where his ears are going to go, I think I'm going to use the part that I pulled off and make flowery ears. I think that'll be cute. Alright. Now we're going to single crochet in the next stitch. Put our stitch marker back. Single crochet in the next stitch and decrease. So we're going to do 2 single crochets, decrease, 2 single crochets, decrease in this row. So single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, yep, still single crochet, decrease. Ending the row in a decrease. And then we're going to just single crochet in every stitch for this row. Forget to put your stitch marker back. For a long time, and I mean up until like last month, I would do amigurumi patterns and I would not at all, I would barely count and I would not use that stitch marker because stitch markers are for suckers, you know. And I was watching a tutorial and they were insistent on using the stitch marker. I'm like, alright, I'll use the stitch marker. That stitch marker is a lifesaver. You put it at either the end of the row or the beginning of the row. It tells you when to stop. So it makes it easier so you don't have to count every single row stitches. And what I was doing is I was counting every single row. And that's a pain in the butt. So use your stitch marker. I'm actually going to grab some stuffing. I'm going to put it in there. And you could stuff the head a little harder than you stuff the body because the head, I don't know. I just feel like the head should be a little stiffer. Just go ahead and jam your head in there. It'll help with the shaping too. I'm not going to fill that all the way up. Alright. Forgot to mark where we were at in the row. Oh, I know where we're at. Alright. So this row we're going to single crochet. Place your stitch marker. Decrease. single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease. Remember what I said at the beginning of the video? Single crochet, decrease. I said this one's not going to look perfect. And it's not. This is your first time making this dragon, dinosaur, whatever you want to call it. It's not going to look perfect. That's why we practice. We learn what we're doing first. We make a practice one. And then we make the one we're going to gift. Or is our heart still in this one that's not perfect? Yeah. But maybe that one can stay home with us if it's not perfect, you know? Alright, next row. How many stitches are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. Perfect. Alright, now we're going to decrease. Yep, we're just going to decrease 6 times. So I'm moving the stitch marker. So that was 1 decrease, 2 decrease, 3 decrease, 4 decrease, 5 decrease, and that should be the last decrease. Okay, now I have some empty space there, so I'm going to put some more fill in there. Ooh, I keep banging you guys. You guys are so close. Let me lift you up again. Put some more stuffing in the back of his head so his head doesn't concave. Don't be afraid to like stick it off to the side. Really shape his head. His head's the only part I care about having shaping. The rest of his body can be kind of floppy, limp. I want his head to be shaped. Nice and shaped. There we go. There we go. Alright. Now I'm going to go into the next stitch and start a slip stitch. Okay. And I'm going to cut, I don't know, about a 6-inch tail. You don't need a whole lot because we're just closing it off. Alright. I'm going to pull that thread through. I'm going to close his head up. That was like the main hard part, okay? Now the way that I close the head up is I go to the stitch across and I grab just the top loop, the outer loop, and I pull through like that. And then I go into the stitch next to it, top loop only, and go to the stitch across from that one and grab the top loop only. Pull. Go to the next stitch over here and go to the stitch across from it, which is over here now because we pulled it tight. And that's just how I close up the heads. Okay. And then I like to go and just weave it in. Weave it in. Make sure everything is locked in tight. And then stuff it into the head. Poke it through the other side. Boop. Came out his nose. Cut this extra part off. And there you go. His head is closed up. That is his head. Alright, now we're going to put head to body. Head to body. Remember we have that long tail that was connected to his neck. We're going to use that to attach his head to his body. Alright, I'm going to raise you guys up a little bit higher. Because the body's kind of tall. I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. Alright, now make sure your nostrils are facing up. This is very important. Otherwise his head will be upside down and that will just be real creepy. Okay? Nostrils should be facing up. Alright, we're going to go towards the back of his head. And we're going to attach it like that. Okay? So if he's laying on his back, just put this straight up, align his nostrils correctly, and plop it right there. That's where you want it attached, so that when he's laying flat on his back, you know, my phone is ringing 800 times a day from all these different loan people since I bought the last car, and it's driving me nuts. So, all right, on his back, determine, oh, see, remember, that was supposed to be his back, so he's actually upside down. Lay him on his back, lay the head there, and align it that way, and then just grab it and go into the head. Oh, we gotta make sure his nostrils are aligned. And into the neck the best we can. Now there are tools, and you can use a chopstick. You jam it through his head to hold his head in place. Every time I try to do that, it comes apart or it ends up really, really crooked. So for me, it's just easier if I hold it in place. But if you have knitting needles or something and you want to like jam them in there and hold it still, you could absolutely do that. But I would just rather hold it in place and move it as I go. And I'm just trying to get in the stitches the best I can. Ooh, that's difficult. That is muy difícil. There we go. And we're just going to sew all the way around the neck hole. Try not to compress the neck hole. You don't want the neck hole to be closed. You want it to be open. Okay? It just reminded me I need to go in there and make sure it was open. And I like to do here specifically kind of diagonal stitches just so that I can see what I'm doing. Ooh, don't grab the arm. And rotate. See, now the rose is on the back of his head. I don't know if I want to do rose ears for his ears or if I want to color control and give him blue ears, because I think the blue ears would be so stinking cute. I guess we'll see in a minute what I decide. It almost looks like he has a little bonnet on. I'm not mad at that at all. And if you feel at this point right here that his head needs a little more support, you want to put a little more stuffing in that hole right there. Before the hole is all the way closed up, now would be the time to jam some more stuffing in his neck hole. His head's going to flop anyway because he's sleeping, you know. But, yeah, I think that's enough. I also noticed that the acrylic yarn, unlike the chenille yarn, is like not holding the stitches as tight, so it's like trying to loosen itself back up. Just not something I anticipated happening. And you can go over this as many times or as little times as you want. You just want to like pull on the stitches, like really pull, like a little kid is going to pull, and make sure that that is attached as good as you need it to be. That is the main point of this, is just make sure everything is attached. Just putting a couple extra stitches going around. It's not necessary because he's on there pretty tight, but I just, it's better to be safe than sorry. Getting a little bit of a headache. There we go. It's just about secure. Now, I know that his back ridge probably looks scary. It's just crocheting on the surface. It's actually, all right, I'm gonna go into his head, poke it out the front, pull it through. Oops, I got it caught on his leg. Call that a day. That is done. All right. Sleeping baby is about done. He's all ready to pin his arms together and lay him down so that he's permanently sleeping, or he can just be a lovey and be loose. He's kind of got his head tilted up. That's like the rest of them. I think I put too much stuffing in there. Meal just got delivered. Scarlett is not happy. All right. Next, we're going to do the ears. And the ears, we're going to crochet. Do I want them to be blue or do I want them to be flowery? I'm kind of leaning flowery because why not, right? I already got this part cut out. Oops. Oh, I'm going to cut the yellow off. To make his ears, we're going to put a slip knot on our hook, okay? And much like we aligned the eyes, we're going to align the ears with the nostrils. And I know what you're saying, you didn't put eyes on. Okay, if we imaginarily put the eyes on where I told you to put the eyes on if you're using those kind of eyes, we're also going to do the same. We're going to line up the eyes here with the nostrils. We're also going to align the ears. Now, same part, like you lay him on his back and just in front of where his head starts to round off, that's where we're going to put his ears. This is not rocket science, okay? It does not have to be perfect. This is where his ear is at, right? So I'm going to go in this area. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows back from his nostril. I'm going to take the bottom of his nostril. We're just going to go in. We are going to single crochet in that stitch. Okay, boop. And then the next stitch over, going towards the center of his head. Let me pull you guys down a little bit so we're real close. Be real close again. Okay. Just going to go into the stitch next to it. Go in and around the stitch like that, okay? Pull up a loop and single crochet. Go into the next stitch after that, do the same thing. You're crocheting like around the edge of the stitch. That would be 3 single crochet, and then the next stitch over, that will be 4 single crochet. Okay? Just for good measure, we're going to go 1 more over and put a 5th. Chain 1, turn the dragon over. Now his nostril should be facing up. Okay, and in this row we're going to put 2 single crochets together. Move your little hand. 2 single crochets together, and then the middle stitch just gets a single crochet. And then you should have 2 more stitches, which apparently I don't. That's fine. You single crochet those together, or if you only have 1 stitch, just single crochet. Chain 1. That second row should have 3 stitches. Turn your work. Single crochet all 3 stitches together. So go in all 3 stitches and pull up a loop. You should have 4. Yarn over, go through all of them. Chain 1. Alright. His ears look like that. Then you're going to go down this side and single crochet along this edge of the ear. 2, 3, and then 4 down all the way at the bottom. 4 single crochets. Alright, cut off a short tail. Pull your yarn through. That's what his ear should look like. Nothing fancy. And then, whoops. See, that's what happens when you guys are way too close. We're gonna go back through those bottom first stitches with the knitting, with not the knitting needle, with the darning needle. We're gonna weave in these little tails right here. Pull that through. If I can get it through. There we go. Right now we can pull those ends into the body. Just tuck them in. That is ear number 1. Isn't that cute? It's almost like a cow ear. But sometimes they look like cow ears. They just do. Alright, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Slip knot on our hook. We're going to itch our eye because it's scratchy. We're going to go up from the nostril. Make sure it lines up over here with this other nostril, or with the other ear. Right there. Go one more stitch over. Single crochet. Go on the next stitch. Single crochet. Next stitch. 3, 4. And since I think I messed up, I was supposed to have 5 in the other one. So was that 5 or was that 4? I'll do one more. It'll be fine. I think it was 5. Alright. Chain 1 turn. In the first 2 stitches, we're going to single crochet together. In the next stitch, single crochet, and in the last 2 stitches, single crochet 2 together. I'm not even on camera. Hang on, I'll frog it out and show you. We're supposed to have 5 single crochets. I think I did 4 on the first year. That's why I screwed up. It's fine. Single crochet the first 2 stitches together. Single crochet in the 3rd stitch, and then single crochet the last 2 stitches together. Chain 1, tip them over, and then single crochet all 3 of them together to get the tip of the ear. Pull off, chain 1, go down the outer part of the ear, and single crochet along the outside. You should have 4 single crochets. Got a short tail. Boop. Pull it over. Since I crocheted over the first tail, I just need to weave this one in. Through the very first row of stitches. And since these stitches are a little bit looser, I'm just going to go back through. I could just pull it into the body, but this row was a little bit looser and didn't pull through as tight. There we go. I'm going to cut those little pieces off the edge. Boop. Boop. Oops. Alright, we got some ears happening. Little dragon ears. Alright. Now, I'm going to pull you guys up because I feel like you're just way too close again. This is where we're going to embroider. I'm going to check in my tin because I have black in here. Let's see how much I have. I got 2 pieces. We got some scraps. We use some scraps. Now this is BOBBLE yarn. You can use whatever black yarn you have, okay? And you don't even have to use black. I'm going to cut a piece about, we'll say 15 inches, just to be safe. Okay? It'd be any old black yarn. Now this is weird, and I know this seems weird, but you're going to come from the back of the head, and you're going to come where you want your eye at. So remember I said we're going to line the eyes up with the ears and the nostrils. So somewhere in the center here, determine where you want your eye. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 rows from the nose. We're like midway between the nose and the eye, okay? Right there. Don't pull it all the way through. You want a tail hanging out back here, okay? And then you can make a V-shaped eye or a U-shaped eye. Okay, to make a V-shaped eye, you go 1, 2 over and like 2 down, and you come in here, and then you want to line it up 2 over from that, like that. So it's 1, 2 over, 2 down. You put it in, and then we go back 2 up and 2 over and come out that hole. Go back in that same hole and then line it up over here where you had the hole come out at. Okay, so this is this row. We're gonna go up through, was it up 2 or up 3? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, yeah, up 3. So up 1, 2, 3 from the nostril, 2 over. So we want it to come out right there. Okay. When you pull that piece through, you have the V-shaped eye, which looks like they're sleeping. Alright. We're going to come back down 2 and over 2, and then up 2 and over 2. Like that. And then back through that same hole, and back through the hole in the back of his head where the other one is at. Like that. Alright. And then you have 2 V's. Now if you want the U shaped instead, which is what he has, you're going to come out, so you come through the back of the head, come out here, go over 1 and down 1, over 2 from that, up 2. So you just go in and out here, out there, up. We're just going to stick with the V eyes, okay? We're going to stick with the V eyes. It's going to be fine. It looks like a sleeping cow. Cut that off. You need 2 little pieces here, and you give them a good tie. Same kind of tie we had earlier, where we wrap it twice and pull it tight. And then you're going to go up in there with your crochet hook. You're going to grab that knot and pull it back into the head. Boop. And try not to pull stuffing out with your crochet hook. And if you do, give it a little snippy snip. There we go. Alright. The body, the head, the dragon, kind of is looking like a cow a little bit. She's done. Now we just need to work on the spinal, the back. I forget what I called them at the beginning of the video. This part, the blade, whatever that's called. So we need to determine what yarn we want to use for the blade. I'm kind of thinking blue. I think blue would be pretty. So let me go see what I have. We're going to go bold with the blue. Now this is a 4-weight instead of a 5-weight, so I'm actually going to switch hooks out. But if you're using a 5-weight with a 5-weight, you don't have to switch hooks. Yeah, I'm going to grab a 4.5mm crochet hook because this yarn is on the thin side. I have no idea what this is. It's just thin. It's blue yarn that was in my scrap bin. It's not the sapphire because the sapphire's over there is much darker. We are going to once again do a... Oh, we forgot the tail. We didn't do the tail. All right, forget the spine. We forgot the tail. Grab your fat hook and your fat yarn again. Now, do I want to do a rainbow tail? Like the... Yeah. Because you know why? That's on his butt. So we're going to give him... It's not rainbow. let's do the tail. I forgot the tail part. All right, once again, magic loop, chain 1. We're going to put 4 single crochets, just like we did with the hands. 2, 3, 4 single crochets. Pull the tail tight, close it off. We're going to do 1 single crochet in each of the 4 stitches for 2 rows. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and at this point, make sure you flip it the correct way. Stick your finger in there. Turn it inside out because it wants to be, and you take your crochet hook and jam it in there so that it's pointy. Now we need 1 more row of 4 single crochet. 1, 2, oops, 3, and 4. Now we're back at the beginning of the row. Where's my stitch mark? There it is. Alright, so, fuzz in my mouth. Alright, so this is the first stitch of the row. We're going to put 2 single crochet in each. 1, that's the first stitch. 2 single crochets. 2 single crochets in the next, so that equals 3 and 4. 2 single crochets in the next, 5 and 6. 2 crochets in the next, 7 and 8. With 8 stitches in that row. A single crochet in every stitch, so we should still have 8 single crochets in this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. First stitch of the row, we're going to put an increase. 2 single crochets, then 1 single crochet. Then 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So it's going increase, single crochet, all the way around. Single crochet, increase, single crochet. Alright, pull the stitch marker out. First of the row, we're just going to do single crochets in this row. All the way around. Apparently I missed a stitch somewhere. There should be 12 in that row, but we don't care. Nobody's going to count our stitches in our tail. Alright, we're going to increase. So the first stitch will have 2 single crochets in it. And then we're going to single crochet the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. And then put an increase. And then single crochet the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. And then increase. 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And then single crochet the next 2 stitches. And then increase. I totally forgot to write down the pattern for the tail on my little notebook right here. It's fine. Alright, and you guessed it, this next row we're just going to single crochet in the round. Because that's how we're doing the tail. That's how we get it elongated. We do an increase row and then we do a row of single crochet. And that gives you the conical shape. I think using the bloom part for his tail is a cute idea. I like the way that looks. I know some of you are going to hate it. And some of you I know are going to be like, I don't like that. Because you're control freaks. That's why. Alright. Let's see. Yeah. We know we could make it bigger, but I'm running out of yarn. And I'm debating, do I want to attach more yarn and make that tail bigger? Yes, I absolutely do. So I'm going to add back in the yellow that I took out. And it'll be fine. It will be just fine. And hopefully you don't have to do a knot here, so I'm not even going to teach you how to do that knot, but hopefully you don't have to do a knot. Alright, we're back to the beginning of the row. We're going to put an increase, 2 single crochets, put our stitch marker back, and then put a single crochet in the next 3 stitches, 2, 3, increase, single crochet in the next 3 stitches, 1, hide that knot inside the tail, 2, 3, increase, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, increase, and 1, 2, 3, with the stitch marker, single crochet all the way around this row, just no increases, just single crochet. If you want to make your tail longer than this, just continue with the pattern. So that last row was 3 single crochets and an increase. The next row you could do 4 single crochets and an increase. The next row after that you could do 5 single crochets and an increase. You can continue to do that if you want a bigger tail, but I'd like the tail at this length. I'm just going to leave it at this length. And because I'm almost out of the yellow again, I need enough yarn to actually sew it on. And that was the tail. Alright. Lay him on his belly. Get him prepared for surgery. Find a good place for his tail. Don't forget to stuff it. And his tail doesn't need to be super stuffed. We have a little end sticking out right there. We're going to pull that back in. There we go. Just a little bit. Just a dab will do ya. Alright. Now, we're going to sew this on exactly like we did the other body parts. Position it where you want it. Trying to thread my needle. Put him on there. You want it to be centered on his body and aim for attaching it where that is, okay, where his butthole would be. Just take wherever you're at right here, go for where that butthole is, and just go in and up through the tail like that. Okay. See if I can turn it to get you in a better position to see. So just go into the body, up through that first stitch of the tail. And I feel like his tail definitely needs more stuffing because it's kind of on the flat side. That's better. Just make sure you keep checking if your yarn is actually in your needle or not. Because you see how that fluffing wants to come back out. That was the problem I was having with the legs, is like the yarn is so stiff it was trying to push it back out. That wasn't the point I was trying to say at all. Make sure it stays centered. Make sure it stays centered on his body. And just go in and up through the bottom set of stitches on his tail. And try to get on camera, Jen. Like, seriously. Let me lower you. There we go. In and up through the bottom stitches. And then, and only then, once you have the tail on, can we actually add the spikes, the back blade. I don't know what else. And that's not the first time I forgot to put the tail on. I get all prepared and I get all excited to crochet the spikes on. And I'm like, wait a minute, I totally forgot. I didn't put a tail on him. It's not a dinosaur without a tail. I was looking because when I kept confusing on whether he was a dinosaur or a dragon in one of my videos, someone says it's got to be a dinosaur because dragons have wings. If it's going to be a dragon, you got to have wings. So I actually Googled it because I was like, do all dragons have wings? Because I felt like that was not correct. And that is actually not correct. Not all dragons have wings. Now, dragons typically in America are represented as having wings. But a lot of dragons in like Eastern culture do not have wings. There's water dragons, there's all kinds of dragons. And I believe Sisu doesn't have wings, and Sisu is from the movie Raya, which is a Disney movie. So this could be a dragon, this could be a dinosaur, so we're going to call him Dee Dee, because he's either a dinosaur or a dragon, we don't know. So this guy's name is Dee Dee. Dee Dee. Dee Dee the dragon dinosaur. Dee Dee the Dragosaurus. That's his name, Dee Dee the Dragosaurus. Because I couldn't determine whether he's a dragon or a dinosaur. I'm going to be real honest with you. I kept going back and forth. So it's going to be Dee Dee the Dragosaurus. Right. His tail is firmly attached. So I am going to stick the yarn up into his tail. And clip it. Boop. Alright, now we can focus on his back blade with a smaller hook, which is my 4.5mm crochet hook for the 4-weight. Whew. Anybody else tired? Just me? Slip stitch. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to attach it, and we're going to surface crochet like we did his ears. We're going to crochet down the center of his head, down his back, and up his tail. Okay? And yes, his head is copping a lean, but he's sleeping, so it's fine. I'm going to go for dead center between his ears, okay? And you can go slightly more forward if you want, or slightly more back, depending on where you want his spikes to start. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 holes, so we're going to go right here. See how I'm going around the stitch without hitting the camera a bunch of times. And I'm just going to put a single crochet there. That's going to be the very first part of the stitch. And in that same stitch, I'm going to put a half double crochet. And in the same stitch, I'm going to put a double crochet. And another double crochet. If you're using fatter yarns, you might not be able to get all those stitches in one stitch. Because I'm using a thinner stitch, or a thinner yarn, it's going to work. And the very next stitch over, I'm going to put 2 double crochets. A half double all in the same stitch, and then a single crochet in the same stitch. That is how you make the very first little blade, horn, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and then we're going to go a couple stitches down and just single crochet. 1, go stitch below that, another one, stitch below that. And you're not always going to be able to, especially when you get to this rounded part, it's not always going to have a stitch right immediately below there, so you might have to go slightly off to the side. All right, so we did 3 single crochets. Now where we put the last single crochet, we're gonna do half double in that same stitch and 2 doubles in that same stitch. And then because that's kind of a funky stitch, we're going to try to go around this big old honking piece right here, because that's where like a decrease or something is. And it'll be fine. We'll put our 2 double crochets just below that. Half double, same stitch. And then a single crochet in the same stitch. Right? So that's what it's going to look like. Boop, boop. You can play with this. Play with it. Put as many single crochets in between the horns. You can make the horns closer together. It does not really matter. Now see, this is a weird spot. So like, where am I going to put my stitch? Just got to find a spot. A little bit further down, because this is where we did some weird stuff. So I'm only going to do 1 single crochet, and then I'm going to do, because I want to cover that. We're going to do the spike. So half double, double, double. And because that's a big hole, I'm going to put all of the doubles in the same stitch. I'm going to just do all of them. So 4 double crochets. This is really difficult to do this without holding it up against my body. Double. Half double. Oops. There we go. Alright. Now, because we're at the back of his neck, I'm going to put a couple of single crochets going down. Face is really, really close to the camera, so if you hear me breathing, it's because I'm literally right next to the camera. Alright, we're going to go down the base of his neck to the lower area with single crochets. Alright, so that's what that looks like. We have 3 horns on his head. Now he's looking like a giraffe a little bit. And apparently I'm dropping stuff on the floor. Alright, now we're at the back of his neck. And in that last single crochet, we're going to put the horn, which is a half double crochet in the same stitch. 2 doubles. And again, check and make sure his spine is still going down the center somewhat. Because I did one and it started to veer off and I had to like go back and fix it. So the spines are single crochet, half double, 2 doubles, and in the next stitch 2 doubles, half double, single. And it creates the little boop, boop. Alright, I'm going to do the rest off camera. Just continue doing the spikes along his back and then continue them up his tail all the way to the tip. And I will come back when I get closer to the tip and show you how to finish it off here. So just do some more up his back. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright, we got the back ridge up. We are at the bottom of the tail. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, we did our single crochets. Actually, that was a half double. Single, half double, 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 next stitch, double, double, half double, single in the next stitch, and just single crochet till you get to the tip of the tail. Oops, come on. Alright. Where are my scissors? Clip a tail long enough to weave in. Go into the tail. Slip stitch. I didn't mean to do that. And then pull it through. All right. Find our needle, which is probably on the ground at this point. My desk is a hot mess, but luckily for me, I have my jar of all of my needles. Weave in this end. When you weave in the ends of this, you want to make sure that part of it at least goes into the stitches of the tail before you go into the body. It's for extra security. Pull that in. Do the top part into the stitches of the blade. And then into the body. And here we go. That is one Sleeping Dragosaurus. And there we have it, folks. There we have it. And like I said, you could pin the hands together, put a little stitch like that, and she will forever be sleeping, and it's more of a decoration. Oh, she came out stinking cute. Or she can just be a lovey, because honestly, this shape gives the best hugs for little kids. Is it much, much softer in chenille and more huggable? Yeah, because this is kind of stiff. I would absolutely recommend the chenille over the big fat yarn, the bulky yarn. But like I said, you can make this with any yarn. You can make it with any style of yarn, any shape of yarn. It's just going to have a slightly different effect. So I actually really like the way that turned out. And you can do the spikes up further on the head if you want. There's so many ways that you could alter this and just make it your own pattern. Like, change it up. And I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm exhausted now. Please make this. The amount of work I put into this tutorial today, I'm exhausted. I'm actually hurting everywhere. So I'm gonna go lay down. I have a headache. I'm going to edit the video first, then I'll go lay down. Take some Motrin. If you make this, I would like to see it, please. Please, please, please post it everywhere. Post it on Instagram. Post it in the Facebook group. Post it everywhere so I can see your cute. She's actually a little bit chunkier than the other one, and I'm kind of here for it. She's so cute. She came out way better than I imagined. I really like the blue spike tail on her. Now, if I used a chenille yarn, the spike would be a lot bigger. Just from the nature of it, and because we use a bigger hook and all that. But thank you so much for enjoying this tutorial with me. Thank you for so many people who have asked about these Dragosauruses. I've had so many people reach out that they want to buy these from me, and that's why I made the tutorial, because there's no way I could possibly make all of the Dragosauruses that everybody wants. And if I can at least teach you how to make it, you can attempt. But yeah. And with that, me and the two Dee Dees will let you go, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.